Good morning, friends. Looks like from your greetings that it's a mostly sunny morning. Those of us who are in Europe. Oh no, raining in Stockholm, looks like. And in Toulouse. Okay, we'll forget that. The north and south of Europe. Not necessarily here. It's a beautiful sky cleaned morning after rain last night. And as you can hear, the frogs are enjoying that. Me too. So here we are, me and the frogs and all of life, in fact. Just a few minutes reflections and then let's meditate together. That's what we're here for. So yesterday we spoke about breath in different ways, and that'll be the theme throughout the week in different ways. And we can look just at skillful ways to be in relationship with the miracle of the breath. And then also some of the contemplative ways that sensing into the nature of the breath is a way of sensing into the nature of everything. So, for example, yesterday we looked at just the expansiveness of the in-breath and the relaxation of the out-breath. You know, that arising and then coming to rest. Right? The generative, the coming into being of something and having its expression and its expansion, and then it's fading and it's ending. That is the exact nature and expression of every phenomena in the whole universe. Sabbidhamma. Everything, it has that. And it's not that we're thinking, oh yeah, everything does that, everything has that. It's more that we're letting our attention suffuse itself into this expanding and relaxing process in such a way that we're developing what I like to call a cellular understanding. A cellular, not a cognitive understanding. It's like our cells are learning, oh, this is how everything is. Oh, this is how everything is. And it's like our practicing in that way becomes an invitation to us to surrender to the way things are, to surrender to breath, to let the in-breath be the in-breath, to let the out-breath be the out-breath, to let the pause at the end of the out-breath be there, whether it's very brief or a bit longer or seemingly timelessly long. And that's incredibly simple process, but often not an easy one, because we see that our tendency to control, to interfere, to analyze, to resist, to distract, right, just constantly can hijack that process of allowing, surrendering, being. So that's your practice, right? With breath, allowing, in-breath and out-breath, expansion and relaxation, surrendering, right? Just giving up again and again and again and again, just giving up. All those things that I just mentioned, all that preferencing and posturing and analyzing and fussing and measuring and all that. Not imagining it shouldn't happen, but just actually the surrendering. Right? That's what liberation is, right? Anupadana. And rather than what we usually do, oh no, I'm thinking again, or oh, I was caught up in that. No, rather you focus on that liberation. The fact that in that moment of recognition, you can surrender, surrender, surrender. Like my teacher Ajahn Buddhadasa used to say, you can give back to nature what you have wrongly misappropriated from her. Right, so what have we misappropriated? Everything. like breathing, as if it's mine, like my breath. I'm breathing. Now I'm responsible for the breathing. And then I get tight around the breathing. No, give it back. Give it back. It's not my breath. Not my breath. It's just breathing. No ownership, no control, no responsibility. Well, that's nice. That's the way to move graciously through life. No ownership, no control, no responsibility. Your breath can teach you that. No ownership, right? What does breath belong to? It belongs to just the biology of your organism. It belongs to the entire cosmos. Oxygen, carbon dioxide. No control. Oh, just to relinquish and relinquish and relinquish control so that we get that cellular understanding that it's okay to relinquish control. That the world isn't going to stop if you relinquish control. That's the belief. I have to keep all this going. Do you? Do you? No responsibility. You know, to stop blaming yourself for your own mind. Oh, right. To stop blaming yourself or others or the world or God or anybody else you might like to blame for the way things are. Things are not right or wrong. They're like this. They're like this. To surrender that measurement is to actually allow yourself to enter into the way things are. You also spoke about that yesterday, a sense of receptive and responsive rather than active or passive. Receptive, right? Letting the breath teach you how to be receptive to the touch of the expansive in-breath, to the calming factor of the relaxing out-breath, to the stillness, peace, emptiness, goneness, silence, stillness of that gap, that pause between breaths. Yes. So I thought this morning I might approach breath in a little bit of a different way. And you know, I recently read or didn't actually read the report of the study, but read about a study that was done at Stanford University. And it was comparing people doing different kinds of 5-minute practices in the morning. And mostly they were comparing people doing mindfulness meditation with people doing breath exercises. Right. So which do you think, 5-minute practice, which was the most efficacious? And what they were measuring particularly was reduced anxiety, increased mood and feeling of well-being, right? And liveliness, right? So the breath work won by a mile. Well, I don't know, by a mile. The breath work was found to be much more efficacious in reducing anxiety, increasing relaxation and brightness of mood and serotonin or whatever, brain chemicals that make you feel good. So one might feel that's a bit disappointing for the meditation, but to me it seems very likely. I wasn't at all surprised by the results of that study. Meditation is much more efficacious as a longer practice. You can get all the benefits of breath work in about 5 minutes, right? Or many of the benefits, let's say. You can't get many of the benefits of meditation in 5 minutes. Just biochemically, neurologically, it takes about 20 minutes, in all the brain measurements of what happens in meditation, somewhere around 18-20 minutes, somewhere close to that for most people, there's a significant neurological shift. And so if you only do very short meditations, you don't get that benefit. You mostly, short meditations, you get enough time to notice how busy and restless and agitated your mind is, but not enough time to do anything about it. So a little longer lets the settling happen. Right. I don't know where that article was, but you can look it up. It was an Stanford University research on 5-minute practices comparing breath work and meditation. So in the Buddhist tradition, the equivalent of breath work is chanting. We chant at the beginning of meditation, and people get, you know that I like chant. If you've been here a lot, you know I like chanting. I would chant every day in these classes. In fact, I do chant every day. As you can hear, last couple of weeks, I've started leaving the microphone on for the first 5 minutes before we go live on the top of the hour, and I just chant in the background. That's a form of breath work, right? One's taking these long, sort of deep breaths down into the belly. One's chanting Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, in a way that's kind of, it's like massaging your whole central channel, throat and chest and belly. It's like an offering. It's sort of like an offering to life, but also an offering to oneself. There's a quality. If you give yourself to the chanting, same qualities, right? Just allowing the sound to come, not controlling, not worrying about how it sounds, relaxing, allowing, surrendering. It's like letting yourself be held in the atmosphere of the sounds, the words, etc. Yeah. And if you chant for 5 minutes and then you shut up and sit, then you get the good stuff. You get the benefits of those 5 minutes of breath work that vivify the nervous system, that bring on the, whatever it is, serotonin or what are those feel-good chemicals called? I don't know, whatever they are. It kind of relaxes. And then it also really allows, it sort of sets up a sense of embodied awareness. While you're doing the breath work, you're not just doing it like this. You're doing it with with awareness, with letting your attention really come in. So I see some of you posting links. It doesn't matter, the study found, which type of breath work. Some were doing just sighing. 5 minutes. Some were doing timed breathing, like in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, or something like that. It doesn't matter. The fact is, just using some kind of breath work to open up the breath. Most of us breathe with some kind of restriction or in a way that's sort of shut down. And others of us overbreathe, which stresses us in various ways. So I thought we'll sit in meditation together, and we'll just do the first 5 minutes. We'll do a really simple. So rather than a worded chant like we do sometimes, we'll just chant the sort of what's called the Bij mantra in the Indian traditions, the seed mantra, which is Om, Om, Om. And there's 3 parts to Om. It's not just Om, right? It's A, U, M. Sometimes you see it written like that, A-U-M, Aum. And in the Devanagari script, when it's written, there's 3 characters. You know that swirly symbol that you may have seen, Om. The first symbol is A, and then the U, and then the bit dot on the top is in Sanskrit. Aum. And that, the 3 parts of that represents all kinds of 3-part things. It represents the 3 parts of the breath. It also represents those 3 aspects of existence: arising, enduring, expressing, and fading. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, creation, expression, collapse or destruction. It also represents and can be orientated into the 3 primary energy centers: belly, heart, head, which represent presence, love, wisdom. So you don't need to worry about the symbolism. I'm just mentioning it now. But when we chant, right, we'll take a long, slow, deep breath you'll do in whatever rhythm or capacity of breath you have. And when you take your deep breath, really let the main focus of your in-breath be the inflating of your lower belly, below your navel, maybe even right down into your sexual organs. And on the out-breath, the first third of your out-breath is ah, with the focus and the feel. You're directing your attention down, down, down into your lower belly. Ah. Okay, and then the second third of your breath, you make an ooh sound, and you bring your attention just up into your chest. Ooh. And you feel the sound moving, resonating, kind of activating in your chest area. And then the final third of the out breath, ooh, and then you just let yourself feel the humming sort of on the bridge of your nose, between your eyes, maybe your whole head area, etc. Often people don't leave enough time for the It's like ah, and then ooh. So just see if you can just do roughly thirds. Ah, ooh. And I know it can sound a bit of a spiritual cliche, right? The sort of chanting Om at the beginning of meditation. But hey, that cliche comes from somewhere beautiful, right? A few minutes to enliven the nervous system, to evoke feel-good chemicals in your brain and your body, to settle for meditation, to clarify your mind, and to penetrate the whole body field with awareness. That's pretty good, right? And then we'll go into meditation together. So friends, please take your seat for meditation. So letting the sound fade and just feeling into however your breath is after that period of artificially lengthening the breath to make the sound. See if you can really sense down into the roundness and depth of your belly. And the feeling maybe of space down there. Put aside any ideas of how you think your breath should be or could be. And as your breath just comes and goes, expanding and relaxing, rising and falling, letting the feel of the breath just permeate through the whole of the field of your bodily experience, the whole field of awareness. To use Buddha's image, letting awareness and breath blend like water and milk. pouring into one another. Awareness filling the breath. Breathing, filling awareness. Expansive in breath, expansive awareness. Relaxing out breath, relaxed awareness. Momentary still point between breaths. Silent awareness. Meditating like this. No ownership, no control. No measurement. Not my breath. Not my agenda. Not my responsibility. Not my breath. allowing, surrendering, dissolving. Natural breath, coming and going. Natural movement, arising and passing. natural awareness. Receiving, knowing. Beyond ideas of inner or outer, self and world. Breath is just happening here, filling awareness. Awareness is right here, filling the breath. Everything is included right here. And this breathing awareness. And this aware breathing. May we return to nature, what we've wrongly misappropriated from her. May we live with freedom from ownership, control, and measurement. Well, friends, if you have questions, things you'd like to explore, anything to do with ownership, control, and measurement, or to do with allowing, surrendering, or with anything else, if you want to explore a little bit what you noticed in the meditation after the chanting or whatever, here's your chance. And please, if you write a question, just write in caps question at the beginning of your question, and then I can distinguish it from the other comments in the chat. While you're doing that, just a reminder, daily reminder. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you speak too much about dana." But if we didn't speak about dana, it's the dana it's so directly what allows us to be here. And everything about being here is a practice of dana. It's a practice of dana for me, showing up, right? Offering, sharing, supporting. That's what the practice of dana is. I want to be here to offer, share, support. That's what you showing up is. Even to yourself, it's an act of offering, right? Sharing. It's like, oh, let me show up because this is good for me. Well, your presence here is an act of, whether you consider it like that or not, it is an act of offering, sharing, supporting to others. Your presence makes a difference here. And then, of course, contributing dana by donating, by sending money, is a very tangible expression of support that allows all this to happen. Without that, it couldn't happen. So mention it briefly every day for like a minute or a minute and a half out of the hour, just as a reminder, because it's so crucial. And partly, if you feel, oh, we're talking about dana again, I would just the invitation to connect with, never mind the money you may offer today, you may not, you may be glad to offer, you may not be able to offer, you may be able to offer a small amount, a large amount, that's on you, right? You can see what's possible for you. But my suggestion would be, use the daily reminder of dana to connect with the sense, the feel of, oh yeah, we all know, it's good, it's beautiful, right? To offer, to share, to support. Actually, it's very empowering to feel, oh yeah, I have resources to offer, share, support. Like during the day today, what can you offer? What can you share? How can you support? And the feeling of being able to offer, share, support makes us feel sort of sufficient in many ways, capacitous, empowered, confident, right? Rather than being one who's needy, one who doesn't have, to connect with that which I do have, that which I can share, that which I can offer. So whether that's to do with the dana in the context of Sangha Live and these morning sittings, or whether in the much wider context of life. So if you're somebody who finds the talk of dana frustrating, that's my hack that I'm suggesting. Use it to reflect on, oh yeah, it's just a reminder about offering, sharing, supporting, appreciating. And hey, that can always be a welcome reflection. All right. Let's go down. Jane, can I come on screen? Yeah, we'll try, Jane, in a moment. We haven't had much success with the coming on screen thing lately, but let me see. I'll get into it in a minute. Caroline says, I'm grateful for these sessions and love that they run on dana. Okay, I'm surprised that the financial support comes from just 30%, etc. I've just spoken about dana, so I don't want to get into that too much. Yeah. So I'm reading the bottom of your question, Caroline. We don't know people's circumstances, right? So it's not what others are doing. That's why when Jane asked yesterday about statistics, I didn't want to get into it too much. It's not our business to see what others are doing. So we don't know the circumstances of others, right? And so, and if you start measuring, evaluating, judging the circumstances of others, that tends to cut off the sense of gladness, appreciating, offering, supporting. So just, it's understandable that we might feel that way, but, it's like, that's the beautiful thing of dana. There's that people can make all kinds of offering or no offering, and it's not our business, right? It's our business to just, to have some faith in the principle of offering, giving, sharing what we can, and yeah, okay. Eleanor says, are we like an empty container, and allowing is just letting all happen within this container, including acting sometimes or non-acting some others? Yeah, I would say that's quite a nice description, Eleanor. The only thing I would say is you might just keep alive your questioning of what empty means, empty container. Empty is a tricky word. It's used a lot, of course, in Buddhist tradition, talking about emptiness, shunyata. But in English, empty usually means like absolutely nothing. And in Buddhist tradition, empty doesn't mean absolutely nothing. It's a dynamic emptiness. It's an alive emptiness. It's empty of what we think is going to be there, as in something solid and real called me, right? So empty of me, but not completely empty. Not at all. Look, not at all empty. Full of what? Full of brilliance, full of love, full of capacity, full of aliveness, right? Full of skill, full of I mean, look, even this, just the fact that like we've got a body and a heart and mind that is alive and active, right? Oh, there's a lot of fullness here as well. So we can speak equally about emptiness or fullness, or we could speak about kind of dynamic emptiness, intelligent emptiness, brilliant emptiness, or conscious emptiness. Yeah. So the encouragement would be, yeah, just keep following that feel of an empty container, but allow yourself to also feel the qualities that are naturally expressed in that sense of emptiness container, the qualities that come forth mysteriously, brilliantly as this empty container, qualities of love, of wisdom, of energy, of volition, etc. Okay. Ines, hello Ines. How do you relinquish responsibility for your body if you're having to give it special care because you have a long-term illness or a cancer? Isn't it important to take care of this precious? Yes, you take care of it without feeling responsible. So there's a difference between responsible, we could say, just able to respond, right? Responsive. You can be responsive. Oh, this needs taking care of. I'm tired, need to sleep. Hungry, need to eat. Cold, need to put on a sweater. Ill, need to take medicine. Tired, need to rest, etc. Right? You can be responsive to that. And of course, if we have some complex health condition, the responsiveness might also need to be complex. We're investigating treatments, we're speaking to different healthcare professionals, etc. But that responsiveness can be nevertheless free of a sense of me being responsible, as if it's all on me. I've got to do it all. That feeling is totally understandable. I've got to do it all. We've been brought sort of educated like that. But it's not, I would say it's not necessary. And ultimately it's not helpful. It's not necessary to take responsibility. It's much easier just to be responsive, right? And it's, when I say it's not helpful, it's like it stresses us to feel I've got to do it, I've got to do it, I've got to do it. And sometimes the language around illness and whether cancer or other illnesses, if we talk about people battling cancer or they were battling an illness, it's like, wow, that's times I was sick in the last 3 years. In the last 2 months, I'm so much better. But for 3 years, my health's been pretty, quite majorly compromised since getting COVID very, very early on in the pandemic, before the lockdowns and all. And, sometimes that language of like battling illness, it just seems so harsh and pushy and tense to me. And so my way of receiving and responding was like, how can I be responsive to this without in any way being in any kind of conflict with body the way it is, mind the way it is? So allowing, surrendering. The sense of surrendering can sound as if it's passive. Not surrendering to, oh, well, it's like this, there's nothing to do. Right. But actually in surrendering to the fact that right now it's like this, that's what allows one to be responsive without the drama and the tension that otherwise goes there. Yeah. All right. Laura says, sometimes solutions to difficult situations seem to come to me from thin air, not from me. Is this the beyond the inner and outer? In some ways, yeah. I mean, where is creativity, Laura? We tend again to take responsibility, my creativity, but actually, creativity isn't really mine. It's here. It's creativity is born of dynamic emptiness. To pick up again what we were saying with Eleanor, and so much better to surrender to that dynamic emptiness, to give credit for creativity to dynamic emptiness rather than it being I, me, and mine. So it's interesting. All these questions are kind of feeding back to the same sense of that we've been same thread we've been exploring this morning. This idea, and I realize that it's a radical idea and an uncomfortable idea, but this idea that we can relinquish responsibility. In other words, that means relinquish ownership, relinquish control. And that doesn't mean what we can sometimes think it means, of somehow taking no responsibility in some sort of like, it's not an abdication of responsibility. It's making space to be responsive. Look at somebody, I think of the examples in my own life, my teachers, just having put down that responsibility, actually very engaged, active, right? Looking quite busy often, involved in different initiatives and projects and correspondence and relationship and activities, but the feeling of not doing it, just a kind of natural, gracious responsiveness. And that's the, I would say, the absolute touchstone and heart of my own life and practice. The heart of my life and practice is not doing anything. Not doing anything, especially not doing tension and drama, but really not doing anything. And I say that as somebody who has founded and is the director of 7 different organizations in 3 different countries. And right now it's a tax season in France. It's the middle of the Moulin season. We've got big problems with the watering system. I spent all day yesterday and today with pumps and spanners and this and that. And then it's like, there's all kinds of stuff happening, but I don't have to feel like I'm responsible for it. I can just, moment by moment, be receptive, what's needed now, and responsive. That's the recipe. In my experience, that's the recipe for a free life. Yes. Yes. Good. All right. Sorry we haven't managed to get through everything. I'm aware I didn't manage to bring you on screen, Jane, but I know there's been a lot of opportunities in the past, so I wanted to also give some time to others' questions I didn't get to. I see I didn't get to yours either, Heidi, but we've got more days in the week, so please feel free to come back tomorrow. And in response to, I saw something you wrote somewhere about Jane, about my mention of dire finances, and we've made several changes in the last few months so that things are less dire now. I can say that we were running at, I think, about minus $20,000 for the first few months of this year. And I don't want to misrepresent the facts because I don't know them exactly, but I know that we made several changes mostly to reduce costs, which in various ways, partly of which you used some of the new AI tools to streamline some things. And yeah, I don't have a bigger grasp of all the facts than that. All right, friends. Thank you for your presence and your practice. Thank you for whatever dana you're able to offer today. I'll put up the closing screen and that will have the dana link on it. Sangha.live/donate. See you tomorrow.